Right, we're live.
Stream is live. We are live. Do we have any viewers?
Let's
That'll be
see.
another question.
Well, let's see if it's actually working.
It is. We are
I like
live.
this as well because I'm actually the correct way around as well.
Fourth time's the charm. Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, we're on here. What's the delay?
It's sort of about 5
Couple of
seconds.
seconds, yeah. We're definitely here.
Claire says anything controversial.
Yep, I'm seeing us.
Yeah, we're definitely appearing on there.
Yep.
Where's the chat on here?
Then. I thought better not.
Comments.
It's all on your right hand side.
Hey, there we go.
The other Ben's in. So
Other Ben's in.
We just might as well give it a minute until everyone else
Spread the
joins
word.
us because they're on the way. Yeah, Kirsty's in.
Thanks, Kirsty. Sorry, we're not sure what's going on.
Give everyone a nudge. Get them in. Get them all back.
Hey.
Excellent.
Oh, it's gone from 3 to 2 though.
Oh. Who's had enough of us already?
Someone was like, "No, I've seen them. I'm off."
Seen them. They're back. I'm going.
Now it's actually working. Yeah, Gremlins. Yeah.
Don't know what it is. Very weird.
Just we were going live, but it just wasn't. It wasn't triggering it to go live on YouTube, so we could all see and hear each other. But it wasn't like it should then tell YouTube to stream it, but it wasn't.
You'd have to have a late one, Ben. It's Friday night.
Yeah.
You can have a late one tonight. It's all right.
We won't tell anyone if you don't.
I think you're allowed on an evening night today has been.
Definitely. Right, well, we can probably get started then, can't we?
Yeah.
Right, okay. Pretend that you never saw any of this, everyone. Here we go. Hello and welcome to episode 109 of the SheGulls Podcast. If you are watching this on catch up or listening later in the week, this is the 4th time we've tried to attempt to record this episode, so bear with us. We're making sure every box is ticked and everyone can see us and all that good stuff. So yes, I am here with, as always, my colleagues, comrades, and cohorts. Big hello to Ben. Hello, Ben.
Hello, Duncan.
And to Claire. Hello, Claire.
Hello, Duncan.
And so to the matter at hand, the reason we're all here for episode 109, it is an emergency podcast. It was called this morning between the members of SheGulls. Emergency podcast needs to happen. Exactly. We wanted to just wait until it officially came out because, as we know, there's no smoke without fire a lot of times within the sort of rumor mill of women's football. I think once it starts to come out, then the club knows, okay, we've got to get a bit of a lid on it here. So obviously the news came this morning. I think it was bang on 10 a.m. So keep your eye out for new signings at 10 a.m. every morning. that Dario Vidicic is leaving as the head coach of Brighton Hove Albion women's team. The official sort of reason is that he's going to explore a new opportunity. We don't quite know what that new opportunity is yet, although the sort of rumor is it will be to manage in the NWSL over in America. So I guess a kind of natural progression for him in his career. We obviously wish him all the best, but we're going to have a chat about sort of where that leaves us as a club, obviously Dario's tenure and the new manager, which again has been announced already today, Arturo Ruiz. But we're going to start on Dario. That feels like the right place to begin. And I'm going to come to Ben first. He's already answered this question at least once.
I think you remember what he said.
I think it was like a 10-minute monologue, the first one. So,
I said it in a forest and there was nobody there to hear it.
Exactly. So I'm sure you'll be able to remember it all. But yeah, Ben, when the sort of smoke started billowing last night, the report from Catherine Batty that Dario was going to be moving on, what was your sort of first instincts to that?
Well, I think, as we say, we often say that there's no money in the rumour mill in women's football. So if there is a rumour, then it's probably going to be true. But yeah, I think, it was a bombshell. I think, there's certain things you could look, sort of in hindsight, you can look back and maybe he was a bit distant then, or maybe whatever. But I obviously at the time, we've been through a really good pre-season. We've had the fan forum and stuff, and everything's gearing up. We're sort of 9 days away from our first game at home to Arsenal to kick off the WSL season. So we kind of all thought, well, here we go. We were thinking maybe there'd be a couple of announcements between now and then, possibly a new player coming in, maybe a player going out on loan or something. But I don't think anybody had losing the manager on their bingo card. He's obviously, he's made, such an impression over, even at Melbourne City, but since he's been here, that he was always going to be in demand. And I think we always kind of feared that somebody would come and poach him, because that's what happens when you're a little club. The big boys, you get something nice and the big boys and girls come and take it off you. So I think, we kind of expected him to be poached one day. But I think the timing of this was the real bombshell, in that, if he was going to go, then I would have thought it would have been at the end of last season rather than just before the beginning of this one. So yeah, it was completely out of the blue as far as I was concerned.
Yeah, like you say, I think it's the timing. I don't think anyone would have been shocked if he'd have gone this off season, particularly given the sort of roles he's being linked with. But when you get to sort of nigh on a week before you're about to play a match, and all the pre-season has had him in charge and coaching the team, I think that was the real sort of kicker. But Claire, what was your sort of first reaction when you saw the post starting to come out about this?
Yeah, I think it's pretty much similar to what Ben said. I don't think anyone was really expecting it. I think, like you say, you get a good manager in, or a good player or whatever, and you fully expect when the transfer window opens that's the point where most of them will start shifting around and moving out. You don't really expect to lose your manager a week before the new season starts. So I don't know. I know they're doing all the nicey leaving by mutual consent, and looking to pursue further things. But I can't help but wonder what has gone on behind the scenes, that why it took, if he was going to go, I think Dario is a man of integrity. I don't think he's the kind of guy who would just go, yeah, fuck it, I'm off a week before because he's had a good offer. I think he's either told them months ago that this was happening and they've done sod all about it, or there was some kind of conversation along the lines of, I'll see what's going on at the end of the transfer window where we're at. And he's obviously decided this is not for him, and he's going off somewhere else. So, yeah, I don't know. I think the whole thing is just a bit of it's just timing, isn't it? That's the thing. If this would have been back in May, June, we'd have all gone, of course someone's going to come in and nab him. Like, he's been a brilliant manager. Well, good luck. See you later. But to be 8 days away from a brand spanking new season with Arsenal up as your first team, I just think that is shockingly awful timing. Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's, and we're probably never going to know, right? Because that's, the way that, clubs do things. And obviously Brighton in particular, this cannot have come as a bolt out of the blue, because it takes time to ring people up and ask them if they want to join and find somewhere to live. And, these are not sort of things that happen within sort of 24 to 48 hours. So actually, when whoever it may be that he ends up joining in the NWSL, if indeed he even goes to the NWSL, that's just the strongest sort of link he has right now. And obviously to leave and say you're pursuing other opportunities, it sounds like that's the destination. I think it could just almost be like a confluence of events. Obviously, Sociedad were in the Champions League, but they got pretty heavily beaten by Chelsea. It's possible that had they made it into the Champions League, that the new manager, which we'll talk about later, and obviously spoiler alert, he's come from Real Sociedad.
Mm.
He may have wanted to stay longer and pursue that opportunity. If Dario was going to the NWSL for the start of the new season, well, that doesn't start until next March. So he could well have stayed until January and moved in January. And then if Real Sociedad's, Champions League run had ended at some point before then maybe they go in for this manager then. If I had to hazard a guess, I would say they probably knew Dario was going, but they didn't know when they could appoint Arturo Ruiz. The opportunity has come up to put Arturo Ruiz in at the beginning of the season, however close it is to the beginning of the season. And they'd rather do that than bring him in the middle of the season when half the season's already kind of done and dusted and it's not his team and all that sort of thing. That would be my guess as to why it's come so close. But you're right. There's no ideal time to lose your manager, but there are unideal. I don't think that's the word. Non-ideal times to lose your manager, and 1 week before the start of the season is very unideal.
Yeah, and you have to kind of consider as well, whose players have we bought? Are they Dario's players? Are they the new manager's list of players who he wanted? It's just been a complete waste of a pre-season, because a new manager is going to come in and he's not going to turn around and say, okay, let's just carry on as you were. He's going to want to put his stamp on it. He's going to want things changing, which means a whole new transition period for our players to get used to again. And they've got a week to do it. Like, that is shockingly bad. I just don't understand how we've got ourselves in this situation.
No, and that's the difficult thing, is it only kind of makes sense if they just think they'd rather have him now with a week's notice than have him in January. I don't know. Like you say,
either situation is
bad.
It should have been dealt with if end of the season, someone should have been sitting down with Dario and saying, "Are you staying for next season?" And got that locked down. If that happened and something has happened in the period of time from then till now, then that's on the club, isn't it, for not having done whatever it was they've agreed to do to keep him here for another season. But I don't know. It's just, we haven't even got an assistant manager to fill in. We're down to a coach.
And that's what kind of makes you think, was this known about slightly earlier in the window, in that they either didn't appoint someone, they thought, okay, we'll get someone, we're sort of doing the search, and then what happened was the news came about Dario and they thought, well, in that case there's no point in kind of getting an assistant for Dario because he ain't going to be here. Or was it known well back when Chris left that Dario was going, in which case they went, well, the new manager's going to want to bring in his own guy. You don't know whether it's like almost like a deliberate, a good bit of tactical thing of like, right, we're not going to appoint a new assistant manager, or whether it was just, again, like a confluence of events where they hadn't appointed anyone. Then Dario says he's going, and then they go, oh, well, that works out quite well then, because this guy will probably want to bring his own players in.
Maybe
coaches in.
I just think, like I say, it's just the timing, because no matter which scenario you look at it, if they knew that Dario was going, if they knew that this manager might be coming, but only after he's done Champions League, or do you know what I mean? They know what the dates are for all of that. They know it brings you right up to the eve of the new season.
Yeah.
And you have sold season tickets on the premise that we are going into this season knowing what the heck we're doing. And on the last minute, you've pulled the rug out and gone, don't know, we're just winging it, really. Sorry, don't know. It'll be all right, though, won't it? We've got a new guy. He's handsome. Look, he's lovely.
And that's why I'd like to see. I know it's not, wouldn't be the normal protocol, but I would like to see a statement from the club, not a statement from Dario or about Dario, but a statement from the club
what
as
they expect to be doing.
And how this has come about. You don't have to tell us all the ins and outs. But just give us an idea of how this has come about, so that we can kind of temper our expectations and kind of, get our heads around it effectively. Because at the moment, it's it's all sort of like, it's all theories essentially. We're all trying to guess what's gone on. And at the end of the day, the players are kind of left with a different manager. I don't even know. There's a thing about work permit. So I think he must have come over, done some photos, and now they're sort of waiting for his work permit, whether he'll have to go back temporarily or.
I mean, work permit.
I think it'll be
still
fine.
Be here, but he can't work.
Yeah, exactly.
He can be here,
I mean,
but
he's from Spain. He's not from South America, Africa. So in theory, it should be a formality.
That makes no difference.
Not really.
We left the EU, so South Americans and Spanish people have the same status.
They pretty much do.
Left the EU, he could have signed, and he could have been collected his first paycheck by now. But
yeah, I think it is smoother paperwork wise if you're in the European Union. But yeah, I mean, it's like you say, even if that takes 48 hours, that's still like Wednesday. It's still Tuesday, Wednesday. I
would hope that if they were already in the process of it and they knew it was happening, that they've already got this in the pipeline, and hopefully by Monday. But it's just
that's what makes me think it was like a. I don't think the appointment was done. I don't think they got him urgently, if that makes sense. I think they had to appoint him quite urgently. That's why the work permit isn't done, because if they'd have known they were going to appoint him literally now, you'd already applied for the work permit.
Why hasn't that been done? Exactly. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't add up.
No. So the fact that they've appointed him so quickly and he's literally just left his job makes you think, was it supposed to be a union that happened down the line, and it's all being kind of pushed up timeline wise, and that's what's made it kind of so hectic, the week before the season. But I think probably what concerns me the most is that this could very easily be another, well, we had big uprisings going on, we had this going on, we had that going on, that's why we finished 8th, that's why we finished 9th. We've had a great series, great season, came 5th under Dario. We only came 7th last year, but we had the cup run. I really hope this doesn't become best points total. In the first season. I really hope this doesn't become like a lost season, because I think that would be a real shame.
It's a transition, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's the thing. And you have to look as well at the squad. We've sent out Camacho on loan. We've sent out Fuka on loan. What happens if this new manager would have wanted them and would have rather have sent somebody else out on loan? Or do you know what I mean? Now that them 2 players are out for the season for us, we can't have them back because that's done, signed and sealed and delivered. We've got a week. Is he going to get some players in that he wants in? Does that mean more players are going out? Like, it totally unsettles everything when you should be now just enjoying the last few days of training and being ready in for the big game against Arsenal. Yeah,
absolutely. I think my guess is I think we have one space now, because we've got 4. Well, we don't, but we have 4 goalkeepers, and we're definitely not going to keep 4 goalkeepers. I would expect him to bring in at least one player, more than likely someone I would guess that he knows. Now, Sociedad are not really going to want to sell us anyone. Maybe it's a player from Granada. Ben and I had a similar thought, although I had it last night and Ben had it today, about a player, Edna Imad, who's very familiar to him. We need a striker, but it would be like one of those it would be a few 100,000 at least, especially given the fact that Man United just spent 400,000 on a kind of winger who's only scored like 3 goals a season, and so the transfer fees are getting up there. But if they do go out and spend that money, that will show that they are backing him, that they are kind of going, look, we are going to listen to what you've got to say and recruit some players for your benefit. So it's just difficult as a fan to really know what, because we're all a little bit disappointed because Dario's gone, because we all really liked him. I think, by and large, I think everyone was a fan of his, and we wanted to go on this journey with him. we're now in a situation where we're changing managers. We don't really know a lot about the guy who's coming in. Obviously, we can talk a little bit later about it. We don't know how the players feel about it. We don't know how we've got to this situation. And I think it's unsettling for the players. It's unsettling probably for the staff. It's definitely unsettling for the fans. Would you agree with that, Ben?
Well, yeah, I think so. I mean, obviously, I think as far as sort of Dario and the club is concerned, I think this has been going on for a few weeks, and I think obviously he's not told us anything, but I think he's been very straight with the club about what's been going on.
Yeah, and he wouldn't have been able to tell us anything, like if it was still ongoing.
So which is how come? I mean, this is the Albion. I think a lot of the it's on a smaller scale, but most of the practices that have applied to the men's team over the last sort of how many years also applies to the women's team. And I think you've got a great player, you've got a great manager, you've got a great this or that. There's always somebody finding the next one, because you know that someone is, you've got a good manager, so someone's going to come and nick him or her. So you're always looking for the next one. So they'd already got their eye on Arturo Ruiz, and so as soon as Dario was mooting the fact that he might be off, they started talking to him. So I think that's been going on for weeks, and I think just the whole the timing of it is obviously unfortunate, but that's basically the hand we've been dealt. But I think the fact that it, I don't know, it is bad timing, isn't it? But I think it's not come as a shock, I think, to the club infrastructure. The players obviously, the players will love Dario, so so that's going to be a big thing. But it's they're professional people. They've all worked under different managers, and managers have come and managers have gone. I think obviously Maisie's been here for 5 years. I mean, she's had a new manager every couple of weeks in one period. So it will be an upheaval, but I think it's something that people can deal with. And I think, I mean, my one sort of slight worry with Arturo is I don't know how good his English is. That's the only thing really. He's got to come into obviously there's a lot of languages in the club, but everybody, English is the lingua franca. English is the club, the way that everybody in the club works. And if he's not going to, if he hasn't got great English, then that might be difficult to get his points across to everybody. But otherwise, he's an exciting young manager, and I think he's just going to step in and do whatever. I think he's not going to impose himself entirely on the squad at first. There will be a transition from Dario's style to his style, but I think I'm quite excited by him. We obviously just keep going back to the timing and stuff, but
that is the real issue, isn't it? At the end of the day,
if this had happened in May, you're all good. You'd be like, good luck, Dario. Oh, how exciting, new manager.
Yeah, because the rumor that Dario is going to is either Angel City or is it like Chicago Star? I don't know, the Chicago Stars or something.
Yeah, I don't know. That was reported in one outlet, but I think the majority are saying it could be Angel. Yeah,
it could be Angel City, whatever. But it's NWSL, and their season obviously is a calendar season. Starts in
March, I think.
March, whatever.
Yeah.
So I think, they've got a manager. I think they're an interim or whatever, but obviously they've all got. So he wouldn't have been starting until sort of the early part of next year. So I don't know if maybe he sort of said that, well, I'm going to go, at Christmas, and they just decided that actually it'd be best, while we can get hold of Arturo Ruiz, because he's the guy we want to replace Dario. Might be difficult to get him in January. He might get poached by somebody else by then. So it's we was like, well, let's just do it now. It's not ideal, but it's not going to be ideal then either. So so I think I'm always the optimist on the pod, aren't I? But I think I'm quite comfortable. I'm going to miss Dario because he's a nice guy. He's always straight with everybody. He's straight with the players. He's straight with the fans. You always get honest answers from him. He's always happy to talk. You know, obviously we're really grateful that he actually reached out to us to come on the pod a couple of months ago. So, you know, it's a real, you know, it's footballing wise, it's a big blow, but it's also a personal one. You know, but I'm sure new guy is going to be just as nice.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, I think, you know, I think that's the thing. As much as he'll be missed as a coach, I think he'll be missed as a personality. Because, like you say, he was always willing to talk. He was always willing to give time to people, and you know, not just the kind of the big people, the big outlets, the big, you know, people from other clubs or whatever. He would talk, you know, at length just about football to essentially anyone who was, you know, wanting to have a chat with him. So, and I think in hindsight, and I know this is something, you know, we've spoken about at the fans forum, he did stay basically until everyone else had gone. And it struck me in hindsight, like I say, that maybe he wanted to kind of, that was his way of thanking the fans, was to basically go, look, I'm going to stay here. You can talk to me as long as you want, and I'm not going to go until you guys go. And that's my kind of, that will be my parting sort of thing, you know, just come and chat to me sort of thing.
Yeah, I think so, because I think what makes it equally just as hard to let him go is he came along on that journey with us fans as we've built this fan base, because it has only really been the last couple of seasons that the fan base has really started to come together, especially with away travel and, you know, things like that at the home grounds. And I think like he was a big part of that. Do you know what I mean? As being in amongst it, happy to see us, always clapping and things like that. But I think, you know, there was a couple of games where there wasn't many people there, and then suddenly we had people there, and he noticed it, and he made a point of sending the players over. And from then on, it's grown, and the players have become much more attached to the fans. The fans are very much attached to the players. It's not like a big Arsenal, Chelsea, where there's thousands of people there. This is quite an intimate ground. It is an intimate fan base that we all do know each other type of thing. So I think it's like losing one of your own. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, he honestly felt like a friend almost, didn't he?
Yeah.
I think, which is really good, because, you know, I said you know, in case anyone hasn't read the official SheGulls statement, do go to shegulls.com and give that a read. But it's a very rare person who can be very forthright, truthful, you know, honest, but also retain your kind of your trust, your good feeling. Like oftentimes if people are very honest, it becomes a bit of an antagonistic relationship of like, oh, you're telling me what to do, or, you know, you're complaining, or whatever it may be. He would have a way of kind of being very honest and telling the truth and all things like that. But once he'd done that, you still would run through a brick wall for the guy. And I think that's a very rare trait to have, you know, and I think the players really appreciated that. And, you know, they seem to get on very well with him, and, you know, as did the fans. So I think I absolutely agree with you, Claire. The fact that he kind of went on that journey with us and he was a part of it. I think it's that kind of thing of a change is scary. Because you think, well, what if he cut, you know, like you say, Ben, what if his English isn't great? It might be a non-issue. He might have fantastic English. We don't know. You know, what if he does that? What if he doesn't want to interact with the fans? What if he wants to say, as some managers have done, you know, players, no, you don't, you go and do a warm down, you don't go over to the fans and stuff straight away, or you don't go over to the fans at all. You know, I don't know how they did it in Sociedad, and I'm hoping, and I don't think that will be the case, but obviously when you get someone else in charge, it's their rules goes. So, you know, it is that thing of like, you know, slightly fearing that change, but also not kind of wanting to be automatically down on it, because equally, you know, like we were saying before, you know, there's been many times where you think, oh, we've got this great manager, you know, they end up leaving, and the next manager that comes in, you think, well, actually, they're probably better. You know, so that's obviously what we're hoping for. But until we get to that point, we're kind of taking it on trust, which is, you know, like I say, a bit, you know, a bit worrisome.
again, I think just to draw the parallels with the men's team. Again, I mean, Dario, if you're listening, close your ears because in the men's team, Chris Hughton, fantastic manager, brought Albion up to the Premier League, marvelous, wonderful. Couldn't take us any further, so we had to go, and we. Basically, again, the conveyor belt. They're always looking for the next guy. Graham Potter was nicked from, was it Swansea? Or something?
Yeah.
And he comes along, makes us a top half of the table team. This is amazing, and then obviously because he's a nice thing, Big Boy comes, takes him away. So we find this Italian guy called Roberto De Zerbi, and he gets us into the Europa League. And then we win the group of the Europa League, that sort of stuff. Blah blah blah. Great time there, but then he. I mean, it's slightly different circumstances. He gets a bit not too big for his boots, but he gets a bit. I want this, I want that. I want you to spend this money, whatever. He finds out that nobody's bigger than the club. Thank you very much, Mr. De Zerbi. Off you go, and we get Fabian Herzler, and he's even better. So again, close your ears, Dario, because this is the progression that the club has been going through in the women's managers as well. Yeah. That it could well be, whisper it, that Arturo.
I totally agree with you, Ben. I think it's the shock, it's the timing that we don't like. Yeah. It's the losing of somebody we know and appreciated and enjoyed watching and enjoyed the growth of it. But you look at our team, our squad, the last 3-4 years, each year it has got better and better and better. Maybe now it is a time for somebody new. So yeah, he's gone on to the next one.
You saw Tim's comment, didn't you?
Saw Tim's comment. There you go, Tim. There it is. That's young 100%. Yeah, he's a nice guy. Wish him all the best. But thanks very much. Bye, Dario. On to Arturo.
I've forgotten which singer it is again. It's "Thank You Next," isn't it?
Something like that. Yeah. Thank you next. Ariana Grande, is it?
Ariana.
That feels like it. The other thing that's quite interesting as well is we sort of think, God, Dario, well, he was here for a couple of years. That weren't very long. He was the second longest tenured manager in the league.
Yeah. Well, that's the problem, isn't it? We're always going to be the team that loses managers.
Yeah. I wonder if the WSL brought in this rule without telling anyone that managers were only allowed to do 2 seasons.
Yeah,
and then it was like, oh God, no, we got to get a new manager because Dario.
You make them sign a 3-year deal, and then suggest they leave after 2, so they get bought out and you get some money.
Yeah, you get a bit of money in.
Yeah, I'm sure whoever it is that is probably going to sign him. I mean, they'll announce it at some point, won't they? But whoever it is that's probably going to sign him will have had to have bought out his contract. So
absolutely.
Again, we had to buy out. Apparently, Arturo Ruiz had a buyout clause in his contract, but that would have been paid for by whoever paid off Dario's one.
You would have thought. I think officially he had to pay it, but I'm sure he won't be left out of pocket. Put it that way. In fact, one of the articles actually did say that it would be going to Brighton would be a substantial increase on his Real Sociedad wage. Which is interesting because I think we all think, or it has at least been very highly suggested, that one of the reasons Dario would go to America is because he would get a much higher wage than he'd get at Brighton. So it just shows you the scale of some of these operations, doesn't it?
There's only, in Spain, Barcelona are like mega billionaires, Real are sort of mega multi-millionaires, and everybody else is just, I think we probably ought to talk about him a bit more, but I think the credit to him for doing so well at smaller clubs, with up against these sort of giants and stuff is huge, I think. So perhaps we ought to move on and talk about him a bit.
Yeah. Well, also, though, you see it quite often where a manager will leave a club like ours, and it doesn't work out because actually working with a bigger budget doesn't suit them.
That's true. Grass isn't always greener, is it?
Potter, Roberto De Zerbi.
Yeah.
I'm glad to be able to get that flag out now because Carla left.
We can have that flag out every bleeding game.
Yeah. I'll be like, I'm supporting you, Arturo.
Yeah.
This is for you, my friend. Buenos dias.
I've got no.
Now we've all got to learn Spanish, haven't we? I was all right with the Australian. I'd had that lingo down pat from watching Home and Away with Neighbours for my entire childhood, but Spanish.
I mean, to be fair, he has got Manuela was at no. Did he
Yeah.
play?
Yes.
Did Manuela play
Well,
under him?
Yes,
I
we
was-
bought Manor from.
Yeah, but I don't know if
think
he was at Sociedad then.
he's kind of been bit ships in the night with a few of our players, ex-players,
Yeah.
because he was at Atletico, but he left just before Tatiana Pinto arrived, and then he went to Real Sociedad. But I think they probably overlapped by a few weeks. But obviously, Manu would have been on the treatment table, so they might have sort of shook hands and stuff. But she wouldn't have played for him.
But she would be at the very least intermediate translator for if he's maybe be going to classes and things, or
Let's see. What is it? Yeah. I mean, I'll give him a bit of a potted biography. I mean,
go for it.
He's from sort of the northern part of Madrid, I think. It's difficult to tell because there's scattered information. And then actually, he was a player, but he played for a club called Zona Norte, which is basically an 8th tier sort of regional, from the northern districts of Madrid and stuff. But obviously enjoying his football and things like that. And there's a lovely little thing. The first post on his Instagram page is from when he was about 21, I think. He did a thing with some girls, some kids and stuff like that, and it actually says thinking about going into women, sort of girls coaching or something like that on there. So, but yeah, I think the big thing happened September 2020. He left Zona Norte because he got offered a job at Atletico Madrid on the coaching staff, and he basically worked for various academy teams. Again, I can't quite find exactly who or how or what age and things. And again, he just missed Carla because Carla left in the summer of 2020 to go to Real Madrid because she was in the Atletico academy. So yeah, again, so another sort of missed. And then yeah, I mean, he was doing various things there. I'm not sure exactly what jobs and stuff, but coaching and whatever. And then in March 2024, Atletico fired. I've completely forgotten his name now. I had it written down. Manolo Cano. That's it. Because I mean, they were. I think they were about 5th, but they'd sort of bit of a doldrumsy bit in the middle of the season, and they basically just gave him the job as an interim for the end of the season. And he got them from 5th to 3rd in the last couple of months of the season, which meant they qualified for the Champions League. So, and obviously that got him noticed around. I don't know if Atletico offered him the job, but he went to Granada, where over the 2024-25 season, he got them to 5th, which was their best ever finish in Liga F.
Yeah.
And again, I mean, I don't know how the contract was, but at the end of that season, he went to Real Sociedad, and obviously, I like saying Sociedad almost as much as I like saying Zaragoza. He went to Real Sociedad, and in the 25-26 season, they finished 3rd. They were the only team to beat Barcelona, I think, in any competition the entire season.
I think so, yeah.
And,
1-0, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was 1-0. It was a penalty by Edna. But I've seen the highlights of it and stuff, and they were by no means. It was not a smash and grab by any means. They were very much. I think probably had the better of the chances. The rest of the chances of the game. It was an Edna penalty, but they had some good chances as well. So it was by no means them sort of parking the bus and then getting them on the break. But yeah, they finished 3rd and got Champions League. And I think if you look at the table from last year, Barca are sort of miles out ahead on 87 points. Real Madrid were on 72, and Real Sociedad were on 66. Which
so they weren't all that far behind.
They weren't far off Real Madrid, and like Tenerife were on 54. So that a big old jump down to 4th. So I think just looking at his pedigree. I mean, he's 29 as well. That's another thing to mention. He's going to get the Fabian Hertzler treatment, isn't he? Because Fabian Hertzler,
he's even younger.
Yeah. Is he going to go bald though? This is the problem. Have to have a hair transplant.
I mean, looks like he's got a nice head of hair, but then he's looking.
We do tend to go for quite handsome managers. I would say for the
he's a lovely looking bloke. But yeah, I think he's. Obviously Fabian Hertzler, was he 31 when he joined?
Something like that.
Something like that. And so there was all sorts of, but some of the players are older than him. So obviously we've got sort of 4 or 5 players that are over 30, so they're going to be older than him. It's like, but what? People can't take instructions from people that are younger than them. Don't be ridiculous. So I don't think that's not going to be a problem at all. But I think, obviously he's a young guy, but he's obviously an exciting young guy, as Dario Vidicic is. And he's obviously got his ideas, and he's worked with a much smaller budget than Real and Barca, and gone toe to toe with them. So I think it's an exciting prospect.
Yeah, I think the only thing I would say that he's probably missing, and I don't think this necessarily means he'll be. It's not sort of to suggest he'll be worse or better or the same as Dario. The only thing he probably doesn't have is a bit more experience kind of in the footballing arena. We spoke about like Dario playing for Australia. Obviously, he played in like the Bundesliga. There were situations when he was playing for Australia where he went to 2 World Cups and didn't play a single minute. So therefore he's able to kind of put his arm around a player and say, look, I've been there.
Yeah.
That's probably not something that Arturo can really do. But I'm not saying that doesn't mean he can't have the same effect. I think it's just, if you compared them side by side, you see, high pressing style. Yes. Been successful everywhere they've been. Yes. Likes to sort of have a good relationship with the players and kind of teach them things and all that sort of thing. Tick, 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 tick. The only thing I would say where Dario's got a tick and Arturo hasn't is that kind of elite playing at an elite level and playing at a national level where he can't really say, oh, look, I've been there. Dario would have said look as well, wouldn't he? Of course he would.
Look.
Look. Yeah, look, I've been
what
there.
we're going to do now, we don't get to see that, Leah, look. But we're done. We're done. He's gone.
Maybe he'll start it with like Juel or something like that. Juel, I think I shouldn't do Spanish imprint. That's highly offensive, isn't it? I'll have to not do that.
Possibly, yes, but
I think
we're allowed one.
The other thing I'll miss basically was one of my favourite things was his little secret code of the Elichankovic, where they could sort of yell at each other in sort of Serbian and Croatian, and nobody else could understand what they were saying.
He'll have to just yell at Manuela now.
He can yell at Manu in Spanish, but obviously a lot of the teams that we're playing against have also got Spanish players, so it's not going to be nearly as exciting that. But I take your point about that. I mean, they always used to say that about England managers and things like that, and always never played internationally, but. I think there have been a fair few successful managers that haven't played at a top level.
Yeah, I mean, people like Mourinho and stuff never played to any sort of serious level. I'm trying to think of Ancelotti, I think, did, but like
most of them didn't. Most really successful managers have never actually been very,
a lot of them. Yeah, I mean, the best players very often aren't the best managers, and
yeah.
So I think that is a sort of not a gap in experience as such. That's something that Dario had that he hasn't. But I don't think
that's what I mean. I don't mean it as to sound like a knock on him. It's just one area where he might. I think someone did mention. I think it was OB in the comments that he studied pedagogy and so like teaching and psychology. I don't think Dario did that, so that might be something where Dario was going on feel and instinct, whereas Arturo might be going on what I've learned and what I've etc. So that could be an area where he gets a tick and Dario doesn't. It was just kind of when you were going through the biography, I just sort of thought that is a point of difference between them. Is kind of being able to say to the players, look, I've been where you are, when they'll be like, who did you play for? Oh, was it Zona Norte or something? Yeah. Who? But yeah, like I say, that's not a knock on him by any stretch of the imagination.
It is very difficult to find information because he has got a Wikipedia page for a start, which is like obviously the first port of call sometimes, but Arturo Ruiz is not actually a particularly rare name in Spain. So you Google Arturo Ruiz and you get loads of different people. And it's one of the things I found earlier on is that there's this must have been really interesting when he was managing at Granada, because the manager or the head coach, whatever, at the Granada basketball team, the men's elite basketball team, is called Arturo Ruiz. So when the Granada newspapers get him on the phone, they got to make sure they got the right one. So it must have been.
I think it was the same Arturo Ruiz, but just one where had a moustache.
Yeah. Well, it better not, because he's going to be going backwards and forwards to Granada every week, isn't he?
Well, is he still basketball coach at Granada?
Yes, he is. Yeah.
Oh, he is. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, he's lasted a lot longer than most WSL managers then, so he's done all right for himself.
Yeah, but so there are a lot of them. So it's I don't maybe Spanish for sort of Arthur Rose or something like that.
Probably,
but,
probably is.
Yeah.
That's
so Arthur Ruiz Alvarez, if Alvares is his maternal surname. So look for that one, and not any of the.
If you're looking him up in the phone book, then look for add that bit on, because otherwise you might get a different one. I'm just looking at some of the comments here. Yeah, we definitely don't want him to say that he's lost to Chelsea 5-2, so he's been done that. So that's a good point.
I think, one of the reasons they lost to Chelsea 5-2 is because Manu doesn't play for them anymore.
That's true.
It would have, if they'd still had Manu in the centre of the defence, it would have been.
It also could have been that maybe they knew he was going, and that put their team.
Yeah.
Although
a bit of a downer.
So Sociedad, have had quite a squad upheaval as well. Obviously, they lost Edna, didn't they? Back because that was mid-season anyway. She went back to Barcelona.
Back to Bayern.
But they also lost. I've completely forgotten her name. Portuguese player with the headband.
Jacinto,
yeah, she's gone to Real. He's gone to the other Real, Madrid, and stuff. So that I think their playing staff has had. That was one of the comments he made when he handed in his resignation, was that he wanted to go to a club that would properly invest. And obviously, I suppose Edna is a different one because she was on loan, but Jacinta has obviously gone to Real for more money. Even though she's been there, she was at Sociedad for a long time. But Real have obviously offered her more money, and they either can't or won't compete with that.
Yeah, it's just a more stable. The WSL is just generally more stable, isn't it? I think obviously there have been issues in the past, and one or two clubs have kind of, when they've found themselves relegated to WSL 2, they've found themselves not being able to keep up because of the lack of revenue versus the costs. So but I feel like by and large, those teams have kind of been sifted out now. Whereas I'm pretty sure last season there was at least one in France, I think Spain and Germany, teams who were in the top division who either folded because they couldn't afford it, or they didn't want to fund it anymore, or they got relegated and didn't want to fund it in a lower league. Or they got folded into another club and things like that. So I think that the Liga F is in a slightly more precarious position beyond Barcelona and Real Madrid, who obviously have oodles and oodles of money, than the WSL, which I think by and large now is pretty much populated by either teams who have a men's team in the Premier League, which means they're also quite rich, or it's like a team who has like quite good financial backing, like a Birmingham, where their aim is to get in the Premier League, but they're obviously backed by an American consortium and lots of people with lots of money. So it does feel like a safer job, a safer environment. It'd be interesting to see what he means by investment, because I think we are investing in infrastructure and stuff. We are investing in the stadium. But I hope they haven't told him he's sort of going to come in and he's going to have like $1 million to spend, and then he gets his hopes up or whatever. I mean, or if they have told him that, I hope they actually give it to him, because we're still in the same situation as a team, regardless of who the manager is. But this has put us on the back foot a little bit. So it will be interesting to see if any players come in. Like I say, I would have thought that Real Sociedad will be on high alert to say, basically, if you want to poach any of your players back, you're going to get absolutely taken to the cleaners. But, whether there's someone he coached at Granada or someone in the Spanish league that he wanted to get that, he couldn't because Sociedad didn't have the money, or like we said, someone like Imad, where, Brighton would have to break the bank to get her, but she's she is a Spanish international already. She actually came on in the game against England at Wembley, which Claire and I were both at. So, and that would be the kind of marquee striker that we're looking for. Whether you can turn it around that quickly and what they would want to sort of buy her. Like I say, the prices are going higher and higher every day for players who you think, I saw Liberty Simons mentioned about this player that's going to Man United from Hacken for £400,000. And she kind of said, and I'm paraphrasing here, along the lines of, it weakens Hacken probably a lot more than it strengthens United. Because she's not taking the world apart at Hacken. I mean, Hacken are a good team. But, like I say, you're paying £400,000 for a player who, someone who has a real interest in Scandinavian football is saying, I'm not really sure she's any better than probably what they've already got. Like, who's she getting out of the team at Man United? Not,
Yeah. I mean, this is what we were saying a few episodes ago, isn't it? Is that the problem that Brighton and the teams like Brighton have is they keep looking for a bargain, but every transfer window, those bargains are becoming £500,000 players.
Yeah.
Because they're being overpriced and bought for ridiculous sums by clubs that do have money and are desperate. And that just bumps the price up for everyone. So at some point, Brighton either have to just come out and say, we won't be spending any more than, and this is our budget, so the fans can get a reality check, or spend the money.
Yeah.
But I think it will be a little bit interesting that if they went out now and spent the money on a striker when Dario's been asking for one for 2 years. That would be a little bit, I'd find that a bit of a kick in the teeth that we can do it now. We've got a new manager, but we couldn't do it when we had the manager that wanted one.
Yeah, and that's the difficult thing to navigate, isn't it? And that's why, in a way, it would make more sense if it was a player that Arturo Ruiz was really, really keen on, because you could say, well, Dario wasn't interested in this player, but he's not the manager anymore. Arturo is, and he really rates this player, so we've gone out and. But yeah, I agree with you. It would seem a bit harsh to sort of say, yeah, we've been looking for a striker for a year. Oh, bye, Dario. Oh, now we've got one. I don't know that would have made any difference to his decision, because ultimately it's a better opportunity, probably more money. But having said that, it wouldn't have hurt.
It wouldn't have hurt. And I think, he made that point loud and clear at the forum. And it kind of does sort of sit there and you think to yourself, did he kind of go into the office and go, look, I've had this offer, but I want to stay here, but I can't do it if you handcuff me without a striker. Are you getting me a striker? And they've said no. And he's gone, fine, I'm going then. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case.
I'd be shocked if it was as cut and dried as that.
Well,
but could it have factored into his thinking? Maybe. He could also have asked for a new contract for more money, and Brighton said, no, we can't match that.
Absolutely.
That's happened at Brighton before. They've gone, we have a figure we can go up to. If you want more than that, then it's thank you and good luck sort of thing. So it could have definitely have been a factor, but I don't think it would have been the only factor.
Firstly, I wouldn't necessarily get our hopes about Edna Imade, but I think if we were to get her, then it would be through him. So I think the fact that we didn't get Beth England because we didn't want Beth England. We didn't get Lexi Lloyd-Smith because we didn't want her. We didn't get, I'm sure we could have got Holly McNamara, but we didn't want her. So, but I think the avenue isn't really there, other than just us just knocking on the door and saying, "Excuse me, could we buy your Spanish international?" But he's got, he would have a sort of pipeline there. So if we were to get her, it would be because of his connection with her, not just because we rocked up there and said, actually, we do want one now. So
that's what I mean. That's why it would make sense.
To Dario, because I sort of asked, I asked him about, now Carla's gone, does that mean we're going to get a new striker in, kind of thing? And there was the usual sort of answers for everybody. But I sort of said to him afterwards, obviously, that wasn't to disparage Carla and Murph and everybody that's come in, and obviously the existing players. But we basically we're just saying, well, it's kind of it always is a sort of, well, who, I mean, Edna Imade is a name out there, but she'd probably be quite expensive if she's she's earning Bayern Munich money at the moment and is a Spanish international. She's going to be very, very spendy. But otherwise, other than going out and getting Alexia Putellas, which is obviously she's already gone somewhere else, or Esther Gonzalez, who seems to no longer have a wife and daughter. Yeah. There isn't like a big sort of shop that sells ready-made WSL strikers. So I think there's that one. But if we don't, I mean, if by some miracle we did get her, it would be great. But I wouldn't hold my breath on anybody really. I think the squad might well be set now.
I mean, it's probably not worth going down the striker route again because we've discussed it so much. So I won't. But I think that's a big mistake if that's what happens. I think that's a big mistake. Because I'll tell you what, we're already taking a knock because of this. If we still don't have a striker as well.
Yep.
Yeah. No. I think it's a mistake. It probably has been made if it is a mistake. But I'm very confident that Olivia Garcia is going to score 25 goals this season. So.
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed
come back
it.
Next season and score 30.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Garcia could be our little golden nugget type thing. Do you know what I mean? No one's really expecting anything from these players. Yeah. They kind of, they can go out there. They've got a new manager to now impress. I think we probably should get a couple more in. I think probably Hannah Poulter will go out on loan now. I think we can't. What do we need four goalkeepers for? That's just madness.
We don't.
I think that potentially Aisha should go out if she's rehabbed enough that she can run and play. There's no point her sitting in our squad for the next 6 months to get fit. Go and get fit. Go somewhere and get fit. Get some match minutes under your belt. Come back in January. See where we're at. But I think that's 2 spots straight away that open up. If who you're going to buy into that, I don't know. But
yeah, I mean,
interesting.
I would be shocked if we didn't sign another player, and I think the quite clear and obvious place that we need another player is striker.
Yeah,
I guess maybe fullback because we've seen some frailties at right back.
100% at right back. Yeah.
So we could see 2. I think it'll be 1 or 2 at the max. I would like to hope there's a striker. I personally think it was concerning me already that we didn't have a striker, like an out and out striker, goal scoring striker.
Well, we're making all the chances. It's not like we're not a good attacking side. We are creating chances, we're just not scoring, and if that's not blindly obvious to the people that pull the purse strings, I don't know what is. What game?
I think if I'm the new manager, I'd want a good striker to pull me out of a couple of holes this season.
Yeah.
Where because there is going to be some learning curves. It isn't going to be a straightforward handover. There is going to be miscommunication. There is going to be, mistakes and not doing what he wants you to do and then getting confused. And all that is going to happen. And the thing is, you can survive some of that if you have players that will win you matches.
Yeah.
And I think we've got a lot of players who will keep you in matches. I think we need at least 1 or 2 more who can win us a match.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion. I could be totally wrong. And I've said before many times, I would love to be totally wrong. I would love Olivia Garcia to be scoring goals right, left and centre. And not only that, but, Kiko keep up with the sort of 7 or 8 and Fran getting 5 or 6 or, but we haven't seen that yet. So I personally will reserve my judgment until I see it, and then I'll be a believer. That's the way my mind works. I have to see something to believe it. That's me. So it's just, I think the other thing as well is we could really do as a fan base. We could really do with a little something.
We need a lift.
We need a lift.
We need a lift now because they want us to be up for this game. Like, this is the biggest game of the season, fan base wise. It's sold out, which means every person in front of you is an Arsenal fan, right? So we have got to get our fans there ready to bring the noise and to drown them out. And that's going to take a lot of excitement. And if you've got a really good player signed last minute, comes out on the pitch and says, hello, Brighton, I'm here. That's going to help in getting the excitement going. And then the players have got to do it. The players have got to go out there and do it for Dario, do it for Arturo. I don't care who you do it for, but go out there and batter them.
That's what we've got to do. That's what we've got to do.
Gooners.
Well, we're coming up on an hour, so we'll probably call it there. Hopefully, we've kind of covered everything, or everything that we know. We should, in theory, be back on Monday when we may know some more information about Arturo, when he's coming in, when he starts, etc. And obviously, we've then got the deadline day, which I think is on Thursday. So
we do a live last hour, maybe.
Quite possibly, yeah, maybe rather than an extra. We'll see. See what there is. Obviously, we've got to preview the Arsenal game. Also, think we haven't done like a season preview yet. So whether we end up doing that, and then
we've got to do that.
However we work it out. Bold predictions. Yeah.
And I am going to encourage everybody to chant at a game one day. Claire says 4-0. Okay. I think we should learn that as a chant. I think it should become a chant.
Claire says 4-0.
Well, we could start it when we're 3-0 up, couldn't we?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. If we get 3-0, we will have to sing Claire says 4-0.
If we're 3-0 up against someone, I'll sing anything you want. Any requests? Not Sussex by the Sea live on air though. No. That's for a very special bet. Anyway, where's my bit of paper? I've got to remember all the things that I normally say. Oh well, it's a special episode, so we'll just do it from here.
I think you're all right about saying them all. We're all on social media.
We're on all the social medias.
All of it.
At SheGulls, or just search for SheGulls. You'll find us. SheGulls.com. As I say, if you fancy a little tier, maybe go and have a little look at the official statement on Dario on the SheGulls.com website. And if you've got any people saying, "Oh, why did he do this?" or "Why did he do that?" just send them there. They'll understand, and hopefully they'll chill out. So we've got to get everyone on the same page, and we haven't got long to do it now. So I think we're all rowing in the right direction, as it were. So yes, I should just say in that case an enormous thank you to Ben. Thank you, Ben.
Well, thank you, and bienvenido, Arturo. Look forward to meeting you.
And an enormous thank you, of course, to you, Claire.
Thanking you.
And we shall say this has been a very special episode of the SheGulls podcast. Good night, everyone.
Good night, River.
Good night, Jim Bob.